Hi everyone, today I want to show you how to crochet the V stitch. Now this stitch just sings when you work it in single stripes of colour like I am on this blanket that I'm working on now, but you can also work it in fatter stripes of colour or in a variegated yarn and not change the yarn at all. But it's a really great, really versatile stitch to have in your arsenal, and also it's one of the few stitches that I actually had the energy to crochet in single stripes and deal with the ends just because it looks so good. So without further ado, grab your hook, grab some yarn, and I'll show you how we crochet this stitch. V-stitch is a really nice and easy one row repeat. You have one setup row that you need to work into your foundation chain, but then from the second row onwards every row is the same. So it's a really nice and easy stitch to learn. Your foundation chain needs to be an even number of stitches. It doesn't matter how long or how short it is, it's just key that you crochet an even number of stitches. I would also always recommend that you use one hook size larger for your foundation chain than you're planning on using for your project. In my case, my project is going to be worked in a 4mm hook, so I'm going to do my foundation chain with a 4.5mm hook. So if you want to go away and chain an even number of chains, I'm going to make a small sample, so I'm just going to chain 40, and then we can jump right on in and start working the stitch. This version of V-stitch is worked using double crochet 2 togethers or a double crochet decrease along with the odd double crochet at the end of a row. So to start your work, you want to work the first half of a double crochet 2 together into the 4th chain from the hook. Remember that your chain on your hook here does not count, so we want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and into that 4th chain from the hook you're going to yarn over and pop your hook in, bring up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 and stop there. Then you want to miss the next chain, yarn over and work the second half of your decrease into the next chain along after that skipped chain. So again, that's yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2, and then to finish off our stitch we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. So that is our double crochet 2 together that forms the bulk of our V stitches. Then you want to chain 1 and back into that same chain that you've just worked into. You want to again work the first half of a double crochet 2 together. Yarn over, skip a chain and work the second half of your double crochet together into that next chain after the skipped chain. Chain 1, and now we're back again to working the first half of that decrease into the same chain we just worked into. Skip a chain and then work the second half of the decrease into the next chain after that skipped chain. And you want to repeat that all the way along to the end of your row. And once you finish that last double crochet together into the last of your foundation chains, don't chain 1 and pop a double crochet back into the same chain that you've just worked into, and that gives you a really nice straight finish to your edges. For the first repeat row, I'm going to show you as if you were not changing colours, and then once we get to this end I will show you how you would work your colour change if you want to change colours in every row like I am on my project. But if you are not changing colours, you want to chain 2. If you're a tight chainer and you normally chain 3, then feel free to do that. There is no difference, it's just chain 2s work best for me. Turn your work and work the first half of your double crochet 2 together in between the double crochet you've just worked and the last double crochet 2 together that you worked in the previous row, so in here. And then you work the second half of that decrease into the first chain 1 space that you come across from the row below. Then you want to again chain 1, work the first half of your next decrease into the same chain 1 gap you've just worked, and the second half of the decrease into the next chain 1 gap along. And so all the way along the row we are working into the chain 1 gaps, except for that very first stitch that we pop into the gap between the last crochet decrease and the last double crochet that we worked. So chain 1 first half of the decrease back in that same chain one space that we just worked, second half of the decrease into that next chain one gap, all the way along to the end of the row. Your last double crochet decrease of the row is started in the final chain one gap, and then you want to work the second half of it into the turning chain from the beginning of the row. And just like we did at the other end, we are not going to chain one after this decrease, and we are going to go back into the same space and work a double crochet. If you were carrying on with the same colour, you would finish off this double crochet and turn, but because I want to show you how to change colour, I am not going to finish off this double crochet. So to get a super nice and neat colour change when you are working these rows, you want to work the first half of your double crochet as normal, like this. Then you want to break your yarn, leave a nice 20-25 centimetre tail so that you've got something to sew in at the end. You want to get your new yarn that you're going to work your next stripe with, and you want to finish off that double crochet with the new yarn. And then from there on in, it's the same as the previous row, so we would now chain two and turn, work the first half of the decrease into that space between the last decrease and that double crochet that we worked, and then as we did with the previous row, as it's a one row repeat, we are just going to work the same all the way along. I'll just show you how we work that colour change one more time. So you've done your final double crochet two together into the chain one gap, and then the gap between the final decrease and the chain two turn from the previous row. We're not going to chain. You're going to yarn over and start your double crochet with the old yarn. Then you're going to break your yarn, introduce your new yarn, and finish off your double crochet with the new yarn, chain two and turn and carry on working. And here, if we take a look at my blanket that I'm working on, you can see by not chaining in between that final stitch, you get a beautifully straight edge. And that's how you crochet V-stitch. I really hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you have, please drop me a comment because I love to hear from you, and I'll see you again for another tutorial soon. Bye!